All right, I'm gonna be tying this catfish pattern for catfish in the Potomac. So the first thing you wanna do is take your hook. I'm gonna use a 1/0 hook, or a size 1, sorry. And this is just a Mustad freshwater Clouser hook. And then I'm gonna take my 210 thread, this is flat waxed, and I'm gonna start it. And what I'm gonna do first, just get it going down the hook shank a bit. I'm gonna take my lead eyes. Here I'm just using medium, but you could probably use a large if you wanna get it down a little bit further. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna secure my eyes. Make sure they're nice and straight on that hook. I'm gonna leave a little bit more room in front of the eyes towards the eye of the hook than I usually would, because I need some room for the head I'm gonna create. So that should be good. And then what we're gonna do is, this isn't exactly necessary, but where I fish in the Potomac, the water is pretty deep. So I like to get this down pretty deep. So I'm gonna take some .025 lead wire, take a decent section of it. My thread out of the way for a second. Then we're just gonna do some wraps up to behind the dumbbell eyes, helicopter that free. Come with our thread. We're gonna cover all of those wire wraps. I'm gonna take some hard as nails, paint that on there. Just get that nice and secure. Okay, in the next step, we are going to take our saddle hackles and we're gonna pick 2 of them. So I'm using Chartreuse, but you can also tie this pattern in white or a couple of other colors. But I find that Chartreuse is the most effective for catching catfish. So I'm gonna take that. I will take my 2 feathers right there. I'm gonna cut them fairly short. You don't want to do them too long like you would on a deceiver or a half and half pattern. So I'm gonna cut each of them fairly short, and you can also use four feathers if you would like, but I'm just gonna opt for 2. This fly doesn't need to be anything special. Just needs to get down, have a good profile. And once those are secure, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some Chartreuse Bucktail. I'm gonna take from the upper part of the hide a few fibers. Take a clump here. Snip it free, measure it just about the same length as those. And we're gonna snip that free. And then just behind the eyes, because I want to keep this even all the way down, I'm gonna tie that in. Make sure that's locked down. These are a little long, but I honestly do like it on the longer side. I like that bucktail to flow in the water. The feathers don't necessarily need to be longer on this pattern, and then I'm also gonna paint that over with some hard as nails just to keep that bucktail secure. So the next step, we're gonna take some Chartreuse Estaz, normal size. I'm gonna snip a section free. I'm gonna pull off some of these fibers here. And then I'm going to tie this into the back. And I'm gonna use close touching turns. You wanna make sure that these are faced backwards as they come up the fly and not trapped under where you're wrapping. You also wanna use pretty good tension so that this does not spin. Just like that. And 3 wraps behind, 3 wraps in front to secure. Snip that free. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more saddle hackle. I'm going to have this one be a little bit longer. I'm going to snip that. And I'm going to tie that in right there, pretty tight, just behind the eyes. And I'm going to wrap this forward. Get a little bit of a thick body there, about 3 wraps. Doesn't have to be too much. Tie that off. Snip that free. And then any trap fibers, we're going to pull those back or snip them free. So now that that's in place, we're going to come in front of our eyes. Not really worried about these extra fibers here. And then we're going to come back behind our eyes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some super nylon chenille. I'm just using yellow, and this is actually pretty small. I'm going to snip a chunk free. And then I'm going to try to fit that right where the hackles are. So right behind the eye, if I can, without trapping too many fibers. It is a little bit difficult as there's not much room on the head here unless you use a bigger hook. So I'm going to go around the eyes once and then around them again so I can create kind of a head on the fly. And I'm going to tie that off just there. Snip that free. Create a bit of a head on the fly. Just like that. And then you can stop here, or what you can do is take a little bit more bucktail, and you want to get some pretty thin fibers. Snap that free. You don't want the hollow stuff towards the bottom of the hide. That's it will not look good on the fly, and it will stand up. So I'm going to take a clump of this, try to wrap it around a bit, get it evenly spaced on the top of the hook, pull these back a bit, and then really get that secure. See, you do want these to stand up a bit, but not too much. So then what we're going to do, we're going to take our whip finisher, get that there, and the fly's complete. But for some extra durability, I'm going to add some UV resin. This is just loon resin here. There we go. I'm going to take my flashlight, make sure that's nice and coated. There you have it, and you can do several different variations of this fly. As you can see on this one, I did not exactly do the bucktail in the front. But yeah, this is the Catfish Candy. There's a lot of different variations of this fly you can do. I tie this in blue, Chartreuse for red, and white. And it's pretty effective for channel catfish in the Potomac. And try it out and see how it goes.